Have you ever noticed how much time we spend asking ourselves one constant question? Why am I not happy yet? We wake up in the morning hoping today will be the day everything feels right, but by night we are still searching. Does this endless chase for happiness ever stop? Think about this for a moment. Imagine you finally buy something you really wanted. A new phone, a dress, or even a dream vacation. At first, your heart feels full, you feel excited. But soon that feeling fades, doesn't it? Then you want something else. And again, the cycle begins. Why does happiness slip away so quickly? This is the cycle many of us are trapped in. And today, we will unfold a truth that can change the way you look at life forever. Instead of running behind happiness like a shadow, what if you could stand still and let peace come to you? Welcome to Wisdom Woven. This is the place where timeless teachings meet your everyday struggles. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribes. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support not only encourages us, but it helps these life-changing ideas reach more hearts that are silently waiting for hope. Now, let us begin with a journey together. For centuries, Buddhism has shown a path where happiness is not something to chase, but something to uncover within. Gautama Buddha himself realized that the more we run behind pleasure, the more pain we invite. True happiness, he discovered, is not hidden in distant desires. It is closer than we think. When we pause and listen deeply, we see that suffering is real, and it often comes from wanting life to always give us what we expect. But life does not work like that. The moment we stop demanding the world to fit our dreams, the weight on our hearts becomes lighter. The teaching is simple yet powerful. When we release our grip, joy flows naturally. Imagine holding sand in your palm. If you squeeze tightly, it slips away, forcing your hand to ache. But if you open your palm gently, the sand stays without struggle. The same is true with happiness. This is only the beginning, and through this series, we will step deeper into what Buddhism beautifully teaches about stopping the chase and finding peace right where you are. Stay with us, because the journey ahead will touch your heart in ways you may never have imagined. In the quiet moments, when the noise of the day settles and you find yourself alone with your thoughts, a question often arises. What is the nature of happiness? How is it that so many of us live in a world brimming with comfort and conveniences, yet feel a perplexing emptiness within? Why does the glow of achievement and the rush of pleasure so quickly fade, leaving behind a hollow space that whispers, "Is this all there is?" Modern life is like a vast garden crammed with countless flowers, yet many wander through it with dry lips, thirsty for a deeper drink. Everywhere, we are told again and again that happiness lives just beyond the next purchase, the next experience, or the next goal. Advertisements scream promises of joy wrapped in glossy packages, pushing us to believe that owning more or doing more will somehow fill the silence in our hearts. But does it really? In truth, this relentless pursuit of happiness, as defined by the outside world, is a powerful illusion. We mistake temporary pleasures, the laugh of a party, the shine of new clothes, the status of success, for lasting joy. Yet these are like passing shadows that dance on the wall of a cave, beautiful but not real. And when we grasp at shadows, they slip through our hands, leaving only longing behind. You might wonder, then, why this illusion is so strong. The answer lies deep within the human mind and heart. From a young age, we are taught that happiness is a destination, a prize to be won by achieving, accumulating, and proving ourselves. The more we believe this, the harder we run, lost in a maze with no center. But what if the maze itself is a creation of our restless desires? What if the very act of chasing what we think will make us happy is the root of our dissatisfaction? The great teacher Buddha recognized this centuries ago. He called it dukkha, often translated as suffering or unsatisfactoriness. Not suffering in the sense of pain alone, but the feeling that something in life is always incomplete, always just out of reach. Look around quietly at the world today. In the cities and towns, people rush from one place to another, their faces often uneasy, distracted by phones, worried about tomorrow, or tangled in memories of yesterday. The hustle is a desperate search, not for peace, but for a fleeting sense of reward. Yet each reward becomes a new chain, demanding more and more. This endless treadmill of trying to keep up with life's demands and desires leaves the heart tired and the spirit restless. The more we chase, the more tired we feel. Instead of feeling fulfilled, many wake up with a quiet despair, wondering why life feels heavier than it should. At the center of this dilemma is a simple truth hard to accept. Happiness that depends on things outside of us is fragile. The body ages, the possessions wear out, and people change. When we base our happiness on these shifting sands, how can our joy stand firm? It is like trying to build a house on the wind. No matter how carefully we try, it cannot stand long. But this fact is rarely spoken in the language of popular culture, which sells us the dream that if we only had more, tried harder, or looked better, happiness would surely follow. So, what is the wisdom hidden beneath this illusion? The first step is to see clearly the nature of the chase itself, to realize that the path we have been running on is not the path to peace, but a swirling river pulling us toward exhaustion. It asks us to pause and look around with gentle eyes, not to condemn, but to understand. When we begin to see this, we start to reclaim our freedom. Freedom from the constant hunger for more. Freedom from measuring our worth by what we have or what others think. Freedom from believing that happiness is something to be found somewhere else, someday. This is not to say that pleasures and comforts are bad. They have their place, as flowers bloom and fade in the garden. But to live in their shadow as our only source of happiness is to miss the vast sky that holds all things. Buddhism invites us to a different way of living. It teaches that true happiness is a gift uncovered not in the future, but in the present moment. This happiness is quiet, steady, and not dependent on circumstances. It arises naturally when the mind lets go of craving and clinging. Imagine watching a lake early in the morning, when the surface is calm and clear. When the wind stops and the ripples fade, the lake reflects the sky perfectly. But if a rock is thrown, the surface becomes disturbed and the reflection is broken. Our restless desires are like those rocks, disturbing the calm that reveals our true nature. The wisdom of those who have walked this path before guides us to calm the lake, to return to a place of balance within ourselves. It asks us to look deeply, to ask, what does it mean to be truly happy? Can happiness exist apart from peace? Is it possible to be content even when the world is uncertain? As more people awaken to these questions, they begin to see how modern life, with all its activity and noise, often hides the very thing they seek: the simple joy of being alive without conditions. The teachings ask us to slow down, to breathe deeply, and to recognize the mind's tricks. This part of the journey is gentle. It does not push or demand. It simply invites us to see that the happiness sold in the marketplace is a pale shadow compared to the deep well of peace inside us, ready to be discovered when we stop chasing and start being. In the next moments, as you listen, allow yourself to release the rush. Feel the ground beneath your feet, the air filling your lungs. Sense the stillness that lives in this very moment, untouched by desire or fear. This is the first doorway to a new way of living, one where happiness is not pursued but received. There is a freedom here that does not depend on changing anything but our view. A freedom that does not require more, only less. The lessening of grasping and the opening of the heart. So, rest now in this awareness. The world outside may keep spinning fast, but inside, a quiet pond waits to be found. Each breath is an invitation to come home, to a happiness that is not a chase, but a return. Let this truth gently settle as you continue your day. And know that the path you walk is not one of struggle, but of slow unwrapping of the layers that have hidden your peace. Long ago, in a quiet corner of the world, a prince named Siddhartha lived a life filled with comfort and privilege. Yet, deep inside, he felt a hunger, a yearning that no luxury could satisfy. He saw that despite all the beauty and pleasure surrounding him, something was missing. This hunger was the universal longing for peace and true happiness that every person carries within. Siddhartha's story is not just a tale of royalty. It is the story of every human heart. He chose to leave behind his palace, his riches, and his family to seek answers to life's greatest mystery. Why do we suffer? Why does happiness slip away so quickly? What is the path to lasting joy? This journey was not easy. For years, Siddhartha wandered through forests, meditated under trees, and practiced severe disciplines. He searched everywhere for a truth that would free him from pain and fear. But the answers did not come from willpower or denial. One day, sitting beneath a Bodhi tree, he decided to stop struggling and simply be. He allowed his mind to quiet, to look deeply into the nature of existence without judgment or fear. It was there, in stillness, that he saw clearly the patterns of life, what we now call the Four Noble Truths. These truths are not commandments or dogma, but gentle teachings that invite us to see reality as it is. The first truth is simple yet profound. Life includes suffering. This suffering is not just pain, but the deep unsatisfactoriness that touches all things. It includes sorrow, loss, disappointment, and the subtle feeling that something is always missing. This might sound discouraging at first, but it is actually a doorway to freedom. To deny suffering is to be caught in illusion. To see it clearly is to begin to understand how to move beyond it. The second truth reveals that suffering arises because of craving and attachment. We want things to be a certain way. We want pleasure and comfort without pain. We want permanence in a world that is always changing. This craving creates endless suffering because it sets us against the natural flow of life. Imagine holding tightly to a rope during a storm. The more you pull, the more you risk being pulled over. But if you soften your grip and move with the wind, you find balance and safety. Our desires and attachments are like that tight grip. They cause us to stumble and fall. The third truth offers hope. There is an end to suffering. It is possible to live in this world without being enslaved by pain and craving. This freedom is not far away or impossible. It is within reach when we understand the nature of our mind and learn to let go. The final truth shows the path to this freedom. a way of life that leads to peace and happiness. This path is often called the Eightfold Path, a set of practical steps for living wisely and kindly. What Siddhartha discovered under that tree is not a secret locked away in ancient times. It is a living wisdom available to everyone, every moment. It does not promise to remove all difficulties, but offers a new way to face them, to respond with clarity and calm rather than fear and confusion. When we see suffering clearly, we begin to understand our own hearts. We notice how the mind moves restlessly from one thought to another, how emotions rise and fall like the tide. This awareness itself is the first healing. It is like turning on a light in a dark room. You can't fix what you cannot see. By recognizing the patterns of craving and aversion, we gain the power to change our relationship with them. This does not mean that pain disappears, but our hold on it loosens, and we stop feeding the cycle of suffering. It is natural to want happiness, but the Buddhist teaching asks us to look deeper at what that happiness really means. When we cling tightly to what we think will bring joy, we set ourselves up for disappointment. But when we open our hearts to the reality of change, we begin to find a joy that is steady and free. This joy does not come from outside, but from within. It grows from kindness, understanding, and a mind at ease. It arises when we stop resisting the flow of life and start moving with it. In this realization lies compassion, not only for others but for ourselves. We see that suffering is part of being human, and in this shared experience, we are not alone. This recognition softens the heart and breaks down the walls of isolation. The early days of the Buddha's quest are a mirror for anyone who feels lost in the search for meaning. They remind us that the beginning of wisdom is to admit what we feel and to face it with courage. It is not weakness to acknowledge pain, but strength to look at it honestly and seek a way beyond. Challenges come and go. The deep understanding we gain holds us steady. As we walk this path with patience, we find moments of peace that blossom in the heart like a flower opening to the sun. These moments grow, and though challenges come and go, the deep understanding we gain holds us steady. So, let the story of Siddhartha inspire you, not as a distant legend, but as a guide for your own journey. Every step taken with openness and awareness brings you closer to a happiness that cannot be taken away. Remember, the path is not about escaping life, but embracing it fully, with all its joys and sorrows. In doing so, the impossible becomes possible. A life lived with a heart that is free. Let us sit together and gently explore a word that holds the key to much of human experience: dukkha. In our shared journey through life, this word touches the heart of a great mystery. Why, despite all our efforts, does happiness often feel so fragile? Why does satisfaction slip like water from our grasp? Dukkha is not just suffering in the way we usually think about pain or sadness. It is a deeper feeling, a subtle cloud hanging over moments that might seem joyful or calm on the surface. It whispers that something is missing, a quiet unrest that colors even the brightest days. In our daily lives, we might notice dukkha in many ways. It could be the disappointment when a hoped-for event turns out differently than expected. It could be the anxiety beneath the smile when worries crowd the mind. Even moments of pleasure carry within them a hint of unease, for all joy changes and fades. This truth, once understood, shifts our view of life. We begin to see that dissatisfaction is not a mistake or failure. It is woven into the very fabric of existence. No matter how much we achieve, own, or experience, This feeling can arise because all things are impermanent. Imagine holding a handful of petals. At first, their softness delights you, but soon they begin to fall, carried away by the wind. Clinging harder does not keep them longer. It only breaks the delicate beauty. Dukkha is like that, the pain of holding tightly to what naturally changes. Recognizing dukkha helps us in two important ways. First, it frees us from blaming ourselves when happiness feels fleeting. We learn to be gentle with our hearts because we see that unsatisfactoriness is a shared human condition, not a personal flaw. Second, it invites us to look honestly at how we create suffering through our reactions. Often, pain grows when we resist what is or long for what cannot last. Like a river blocked by a dam, the energy builds and causes turmoil, but if we allow the water to flow, peace returns. Understanding dukkha means embracing the whole of life, the joys and sorrows, successes and failures, as a dance of changing moments. Each feeling arises and passes away. This is not cause for despair, but an opportunity to practice presence and acceptance. This moment, right now, with all its imperfections, is perfect for seeing clearly. When the mind rests quietly and sees without judgment, the restless waves of craving and fear begin to settle. We find space between the storms of emotion. Buddhism teaches that suffering is caused by our attachment to things, people, and ideas. We want to keep life from changing, but change is the nature of reality. Trees blossom and shed their leaves. The sun rises and sets. Our thoughts and feelings move like clouds in the sky. To resist this flow is to suffer, but to go with it is to find harmony. Like a leaf floating on water, we learn to move with life rather than against it. This does not mean giving up hope or dreams, but holding them lightly, with open hands and open heart. The practice begins with awareness. Notice when desire arises, the longing for something to be different. Notice the pulling of the mind towards pleasure or pushing away pain. Recognize these as natural movements, not faults to fight or punish. With patience, the space between thoughts grows. In this silence, we discover something deeper than all desire, a stillness that is not empty but full of peace. Here, true happiness can blossom, not built on shifting sands but rooted deep in understanding. Dukkha is like a teacher whispering the truth that chasing the outside world for happiness will leave us wanting. The invitation is to turn inward, to trust the quiet wisdom that lives beneath the surface. This trust is not easy at first. The mind wants certainty, control, and safety in constant pleasure. But as we practice seeing the nature of change, fear softens and courage grows. We become friends with the unknown, no longer running from it. This transformation is gradual. It does not happen overnight, but through many small acts of awareness and kindness, to ourselves and to others. Each time we stop to breathe, to observe without judgment, we weave a thread of gentle peace into the fabric of our lives. The Buddha's teachings on dukkha remind us that suffering connects us all. It is not a barrier, but a bridge that leads to compassion. When we understand our own pain, we open our hearts to the suffering of the world, and compassion blooms. Compassion is like sunshine for the soul. It warms the places frozen by fear and isolation. It reminds us that we are never truly alone in our struggles. Together, humanity shares the dance of joy and sorrow, hope and despair. Embracing dukkha with this open heart is the beginning of freedom. It allows us to rest in the present moment, fully alive to what is, without the weight of endless wanting. Happiness is no longer a distant goal, but a flower blooming in the now. This flower does not need perfect conditions to grow. It thrives in the soil of honest seeing and gentle acceptance. It invites us to live with less grasping and more giving kindness, patience, and understanding to ourselves and others. So, when life feels heavy, remember dukkha is not your enemy but your guide. It calls you to stop chasing shadows and to look deeply at the light behind them. It asks you to meet yourself with love, even in moments of pain. This is the way Buddhism invites us to transform suffering, not by denying it, but by welcoming it into the heart and allowing it to teach us the art of living fully. As you continue on your journey, carry this truth gently. Let it soften your steps and open your eyes to the richness of life, both sweet and bitter. With each breath, come closer to the peace that waits quietly beneath all longing. The path may not always be easy, but it is never walked alone. The wisdom of the ages, the love of fellow travelers, and the calm within your own heart will guide you home. And in time, you will find that the weight of unsatisfactoriness lightens, replaced by a joy that is steady, simple, and free. Take a breath. Let us sit quietly and reflect on a question that touches all of us. Why does chasing happiness sometimes bring more pain instead of joy? We all want to feel happy. This is natural. It is part of being alive. But the way we often seek happiness can lead us down a path of struggle and disappointment. Imagine the story of a traveler thirsty in a desert. He searches desperately for water, spotting glimpses shimmering in the distance. He runs toward it, hoping to quench his thirst. But as he walks or runs faster, the oasis seems to move farther away, always just beyond reach. This traveler's journey is like many of ours, a pursuit that feels endless, chasing mirages that vanish the closer we get. Why does this happen? The answer lies hidden in how our minds work. Happiness, when seen as something outside ourselves, something to grab or own, becomes a moving target. This chasing creates craving, a deep, restless desire that pulls us forward, but never fills the heart. The more we chase, the more we build expectations. We think that if only we had something, a certain job, a relationship, a new gadget, more money, we would be happy. But when we get it, that happiness often fades quickly, like a candle's flame flickering in the wind. This is because the happiness based on external things is fragile. It depends on conditions that can change or disappear. This craving not only creates disappointment, but also suffering. When we don't get what we want, we feel sadness, frustration, or anger. When things change, as they always do, we feel loss or fear. These feelings are natural. What causes suffering to deepen, however, is how tightly we hold on to our desires and expectations. Clinging to happiness as if it were a fixed prize makes our minds tense, anxious, and restless. We push away anything that brings discomfort, hoping to only experience pleasure. But life itself is a dance of opposites, joy and sorrow, gain and loss, meeting and parting. Trying to avoid suffering is like trying to stop the waves in the ocean. This chasing also blinds us to the happiness already present in this moment. When our minds are focused on the future, on getting something we do not have, we miss the simple joys of life unfolding now. A child's laughter, the breeze on our skin, the taste of food, a smile from a friend. All these moments hold happiness if we pause to see them. Desire in itself is not wrong or bad. It is part of life, urging us to grow, to learn, to connect. But when desire becomes attachment, when it tightens into grasping, it becomes a trap. The tighter we squeeze, the more we suffer. This is the subtle trap that often goes unnoticed. We think that grabbing and holding on will bring security and happiness, but it brings the opposite. Like reaching out to catch a butterfly, the harder we try, the more easily it escapes. The wisdom of the Buddha teaches us to understand this trap, to look deeply into the nature of craving and clinging. When we learn to see how desire arises and falls away, we gain freedom. We begin to hold life with softer hands, with less anxiety and more trust. This doesn't mean we stop caring or striving. It means we change our relationship with desire. Instead of it controlling us, we become aware of it, welcoming it gently and letting it pass when the time comes. We find balance between action and acceptance. The more we practice, the more we realize that happiness is not a treasure hidden in a distant place, but a light inside us. When we release the chase, we open the door to this light, steady, calm, and warm, even while the world outside continues changing. This way of living is like walking on a narrow path between two cliffs. On one side is the danger of too much desire and grasping. On the other side is the danger of shutting down and indifference. The middle way invites us to move with awareness, finding a balance that nourishes the heart. On this path, we learn to enjoy pleasures without being ruled by them. We appreciate life's beauty without clinging. We accept difficulties without being overwhelmed. This is a skill developed through mindfulness, the gentle watching of our thoughts and feelings as they arise and pass. Through mindfulness, we create space inside ourselves. Instead of reacting to craving with blind pursuit or resistance, we respond with kindness and wisdom. We see desire as a visitor rather than a master, welcoming its presence but not letting it take control. This inner space becomes a refuge, a place where peace can grow even in the midst of chaos. We discover that true happiness does not come from chasing, but from being fully present and open-hearted. When the mind stops chasing after what it thinks it needs to be happy, a quiet joy begins to shine. This joy is not loud or demanding. It is soft and steady, like the light of dawn gently spreading over the earth. We learn to accept that life is imperfect and that happiness may come and go like the seasons. Instead of fearing its loss, we embrace its coming and its passing with gratitude. In this acceptance, suffering loses its power to overwhelm us. We begin to experience a freedom that is not dependent on circumstances or achievements. This freedom is a gift, always available, waiting behind the noise of craving. The more we practice letting go of the chase, the more we find peace in the present moment. We become like a tree rooted deeply, standing firm through storms without breaking, bending with grace. This is the gift the Buddha offered, that wisdom and compassion can grow when we stop running and start listening. Happiness is not a prize to be won, but a companion found on the path of awareness. So, let us walk this path together, not with hurried steps, but with gentle footsteps, open hearts, and curious minds. In the stillness between desire and fulfillment, we find the true meaning of happiness. And in that stillness, a deep and lasting peace awaits, waiting for us to come home. Come, sit quietly with me, and take a moment to breathe deeply. In the gentle rhythm of your breath, there lies a simple truth. Peace is found not in what is coming or what is past, but in this very moment, right now. Yet, how often do we forget this? How often does our mind wander far away, chasing memories or dreams, missing the life that is unfolding before us like a delicate flower? Mindfulness is the gentle art of coming home to ourselves, to the present moment where life breathes in and out. It is not complicated or distant. It is as natural as the rising sun. But in the rush of daily life, the mind often runs away, lost in worries, plans, and regrets. Mindfulness invites us to gently gather the scattered pieces of our attention and bring them back to now. When we are mindful, we begin to see life with fresh eyes. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. The simple act of feeling the ground beneath our feet, noticing the warmth of the sun on our skin, or listening to the sound of a bird becomes a doorway to deep calm and joy. In these moments, happiness is not a prize to win, but a gift that reveals itself. One reason mindfulness is so powerful is that it breaks the endless cycle of chasing and resisting. The mind often pulls us forward into desires or pushes us backward into regrets. This tug-of-war creates tension and suffering. When we bring awareness to the present, we step out of this struggle. We find a space where we can observe without being swept away. Imagine your mind as a calm lake. When the wind blows, waves rise and break the clear reflection of the sky. But when the wind ceases, the waters settle. Mindfulness is like the stillness that allows the lake to become clear again, reflecting life as it is. This stillness is not empty or dull. It is alive with the vibrant colors of the moment. When the mind is quiet, we feel a deep connection to the world and to ourselves. We see thoughts, feelings, and sensations coming and going like clouds crossing the sky. We don't hold on to them or push them away. We simply watch. Learning mindfulness is like learning to dance with life. We meet each step with presence and kindness, whether it brings joy or sorrow. This practice transforms how we relate to pain and pleasure. Instead of running from discomfort or clinging to pleasure, we embrace both with gentle acceptance. In this embrace, the sharp edges of suffering soften. We discover that even pain can be a teacher, guiding us to greater understanding and compassion. When we are mindful, we do not become overwhelmed by emotions. Instead, we hold them in the awareness of the present moment, allowing them to flow naturally. Daily life offers many opportunities to practice mindfulness. It can be as simple as noticing the taste of your food, feeling the breath move in your body, or hearing the sounds around you. These small acts of attention build a habit of presence that gently rewires the mind. Over time, mindfulness becomes a sanctuary, a place inside us to return to whenever life feels chaotic. This sanctuary is always available, no matter the circumstances. It reminds us that happiness and peace are not found in external things, but in the open space of awareness within. The Buddha taught that mindfulness is the path to liberation. It helps us see clearly the nature of reality, including our own mind's patterns. With this clear seeing, we can respond wisely rather than react blindly. Mindfulness also deepens our compassion. When we are present with ourselves, we learn to be gentle rather than harsh. We notice the struggles and joys of our own heart and naturally extend this kindness to others. The practice does not require changing who we are. It simply invites us to meet ourselves fully, our fears, hopes, strengths, and vulnerabilities, with an open heart. This acceptance is where true healing begins. Sometimes mindfulness is easiest during meditation, when we sit quietly and focus on the breath. But it is just as powerful when practiced in movement, in conversation, or while working. The key is to bring gentle attention to whatever we are doing. When the mind drifts, as it naturally will, we do not judge ourselves. We simply notice and return to the present, like a loving friend guiding us home. This patience is part of the practice's beauty. In practicing mindfulness, we learn that we are not our thoughts or emotions. We are the awareness that witnesses these experiences. This realization brings freedom. It frees us from being controlled by the past or future, by fears or desires. Freedom grows as we cultivate this awareness. We become less entangled in the stories the mind tells and more grounded in the simple reality of now. This grounding brings peace and joy that do not depend on circumstances, but arise naturally from within. Mindfulness shows us that every moment holds the possibility of awakening. The breath, a smile, the warmth of sunlight, all are invitations to come back to the present and find happiness here. As we deepen this practice, we notice a gentle transformation. Life becomes less about chasing and more about unfolding. Challenges become opportunities for growth. Pain becomes a doorway to compassion. Joy becomes a natural expression of being. This is the heart of mindfulness, a loving presence that embraces all of life, moment by moment. It teaches us that happiness is not a distant dream, but a reality waiting to be discovered in the stillness of now. So, let the breath be your guide. Let the present moment be your home. In this space, you will find a peace that quiets the restless mind and a joy that lights up the heart. May this truth gently ripple through your days, bringing warmth and calm. And as you walk your path, may mindfulness be the lamp that shows the way, ever steady, ever kind. Let us sit quietly and open our hearts to a teaching that gently frees us from suffering. The wisdom of non-attachment. In the deep quiet of your mind, you might ask, what does it mean to let go? To release? Why does holding on so tightly to things, people, and even our own feelings cause such pain? From the beginning of time, humans have known the pull of attachment. It is natural to love and desire, to want safety, comfort, and connection. Our hearts long to keep what brings joy and avoid what causes pain. Yet, in this clinging lies a hidden sorrow. Imagine holding a petal of a rose. You want it to stay forever beautiful, soft, and fresh. You hold it tightly, afraid of losing its delicate charm. But the harder you hold, the more the petal bruises and crumbles beneath your fingers. This is what attachment does. It traps and crushes the very thing it wants to preserve. Non-attachment does not mean you stop caring or feeling. It does not ask you to close your heart or become indifferent. Rather, it invites a gentle openness, a soft touch with life. It teaches us to love freely, without chains or demands. When we are attached, our happiness depends on things being just right. The presence of a person, the success in our work, the comfort of possessions. This dependency makes us fragile. When the world changes, as it always does, we suffer deeply because the foundation of our joy is unstable. Non-attachment is the skill of holding life with open hands and an open heart. Like a bird perched lightly on a branch, ready to fly or stay, we learn to enjoy life's gifts without grasping so tightly that we lose joy or freedom. This teaching has the power to transform the way we live. Letting go of attachment frees us to embrace change, uncertainty, and loss with less fear. We find a peaceful place inside where happiness is not a prize won or lost, but a steady flame that burns no matter the wind. It is not easy to practice non-attachment. Our minds often resist letting go because they confuse it with loss or emptiness. But true non-attachment is a rich fullness, a deep security that arises from trusting life's flow rather than clinging to illusions of control. In the rush of daily life, attachment disguises itself in many forms. It may be the need to control situations and people, or the desire to hold on to achievements and identities. It whispers fears like, "What if I lose this? What if I am not enough without it?" Mindfulness helps us to see these threads of attachment when they arise. Awareness gives us choice. We begin to notice how the mind tightens and pulls whenever craving surfaces. Instead of following its grip blindly, we gently loosen our hold. This act of letting go is a practice, a moment-by-moment return to freedom. Sometimes it feels like a small surrender, a breath out after holding it in too long. Sometimes it unfolds gradually, like a flower opening in time with the sun. Non-attachment does not mean giving up dreams or denying love. It means loving in a way that allows freedom for yourself and others. When love is free, it is not about possession, but about deep connection and respect. Think of a river flowing to the sea. The water does not cling to the riverbed or resist its journey. It embraces movement and change, full of life in every drop. Non-attachment is like that, flowing with life rather than blocking it. When attachment softens, suffering fades. We still feel sadness and joy, but they do not overwhelm or define us. We learn to meet life's moments with balance and ease, moving through pain and pleasure alike with wisdom. This gentle freedom helps cultivate compassion. We understand that everyone experiences attachment and loss. We become less judgmental of ourselves and others, recognizing the shared vulnerability of being human. In this space of non-attachment, generosity blooms. We give, share, and love without expectation. We find joy in simply being, not in needing or demanding. This is true happiness, beyond chasing or clinging. The Buddha pointed to non-attachment as a path to liberation. It opens the way to a life where the heart is light and the mind is clear, where peace arises naturally because there is no battle inside. Walking this path requires patience and kindness. Sometimes old habits pull us back into grasping, but each moment offers a new chance to release and breathe. With gentle practice, non-attachment becomes a natural way of living. As you continue your journey, remember, holding on too tightly breaks the heart, but letting go, with love and awareness, heals it. May you find the courage to open your hands and heart, to embrace life's ever-changing dance with grace and freedom. And in doing so, may you discover a happiness that is steady, deep, and real, waiting not for the future but blossoming in the now. Come, breathe with me. In the stillness between each breath, there is a path flowing like a gentle river, neither rushing forward nor stagnant, a path known as the middle way. This way invites us to walk with balance, kindness, and clarity, steering clear of extremes that pull us away from the peace we seek. Through life, many wander lost in the heavy forests of excess or the barren lands of harshness. Some chase pleasure relentlessly, pouring all their hopes into experiences and possessions. Others bind themselves tightly with harsh discipline, rejecting joy in the name of control. Both roads, though so different, lead away from the quiet freedom that waits within. The middle way is like a soft bridge between these two lands, It teaches that suffering arises when we cling too tightly to any extreme, for wanting too much or for wanting too little. This path calls us to a gentle balance where the heart is open and the mind is clear. Think of a tree standing strong. It is neither too tall nor too short. Its branches spread widely but not wildly. It bends with the wind but does not break. Like this tree, balanced living gives us strength and flexibility through life's storms. Walking the middle way means choosing neither denial nor indulgence, but a wise and loving relationship with life. It asks us to see clearly what nourishes our spirit and what drains us, and to step gently on the path that leads to true well-being. At its core, the middle way is about moderation, not only in how much we do or have, but in our thoughts and emotions. When we go to extremes, the mind becomes unsettled. Too much desire pulls us into endless craving. Too much avoidance pushes us into numbness or despair. This teaching invites us to welcome life with open arms, embracing joy and sorrow with equal kindness. We learn to accept our imperfections and the imperfection of the world without losing hope or giving in to frustration. Practicing the middle way encourages us to cultivate virtues that sustain balance. Patience to wait without rushing, courage to face difficulties without fleeing, and wisdom to see when to act and when to rest. It also teaches us to listen deeply to our own needs, to other beings, and to the rhythms of nature. By aligning with this deeper harmony, we nurture a life that feels whole and peaceful. Living this way means caring for the body, mind, and heart alike. It means nourishing ourselves with healthy food, restful sleep, and loving connection, while also engaging in meaningful work and joyful play. Yet, balance is not a fixed point, but a dance. Life shifts constantly. What feels balanced today may feel off tomorrow. The middle way invites us to move gracefully with these changes, adjusting as a river changes its course with the seasons. This flexibility opens space for compassion, from ourselves and towards others. We recognize that everyone struggles to find balance, and that judgment only widens the gaps between us. The Buddha's life itself reflected the middle way. After years of extreme discipline without peace, he discovered that true happiness sprang from avoiding extremes, finding the peaceful center in between. When we walk this path, we stop pushing life to be different than it is. We stop fighting ourselves or the world. Instead, we meet things as they come, with gentle acceptance and steady courage. This acceptance doesn't mean passivity or giving up. It means choosing actions and thoughts that align with peace rather than chaos. It means letting go of the need to control every outcome, trusting in life's unfolding. The middle way also teaches us to be mindful of our words and deeds, knowing that they shape our world and our hearts. Through kindness and understanding, we build bridges that connect rather than walls that divide. Over time, this balanced living transforms us. The restless mind stills, the anxious heart softens, and a quiet joy arises, rooted not in external things but in inner harmony. With each breath, each step taken in awareness, we grow more grounded. We learn that happiness is not in extremes but in gentle balance, not in having all the answers but in trusting the process of life. This trust brings deep peace. It allows us to accept uncertainty and change without fear, to face challenges without losing ourselves. The middle way invites us to slow down from the fast pace of wanting and doing. It encourages us to savor simple moments, a smile, a breath, a kind word, as windows into the sacredness of life. It calls us to cultivate gratitude for what is, rather than hunger for what is not. This gratitude becomes a light that illuminates the path in times of darkness. Balance is a daily practice, a conscious choice made again and again. It asks for courage to look honestly at our habits and patterns, and kindness to change gently, without judgment. In this living balance, freedom grows. We are no longer tossed by the seas of craving or fear, but sail steadily, guided by the compass of wisdom and compassion. So, let us walk the middle way together, with open hearts, steady minds, and loving kindness. In this way, we discover a happiness deep and lasting, not a fleeting sparkle but a warm and steady flame. And as we move through life with balance, may we bring this peace to others, lighting the way for those still searching, and reminding all that true happiness is found not at the edges, but at the center, in the calm and gentle space within. Let us breathe together and gently open our hearts to a teaching at the very core of true happiness, compassion and connectedness. In the quiet spaces of life, when we look deeply, we discover something extraordinary. We are not separate islands, but parts of a vast, interconnected web of life. This connection is subtle, like the invisible threads that bind a spider's web, holding it strong yet delicate. Each of us is woven into this web, linked to every being, every tree, every moment. To feel this connection deeply is to awaken to a joy that is richer and deeper than any fleeting pleasure. Compassion, the heart's response to this connection, is the key. It is the gentle understanding and kindness we offer to ourselves and to others when we recognize the shared experience of being human. When we see another suffering, compassion stirs within us, not as pity, but as a profound recognition. Their pain is our pain, their joy is our joy. Imagine a mother bird feeling the wind beneath her wings as her chicks learn to fly. Her heart is full of care, urging them gently into the wide sky while holding them close with her presence. Compassion is like that, an embrace both strong and tender, encouraging growth and offering comfort. In the modern world, it is easy to forget this deep connection. We are often encouraged to focus on the self, to compete, to protect, to succeed. But these separations breed loneliness and fear. When we live in isolation, happiness feels distant and fragile. The Buddhist teaching shines a light on the truth that recognizing our connectedness brings a profound easing of the heart. We are no longer alone or trapped in self-centered thoughts. Instead, we step into a field of shared humanity where kindness flows freely. Compassion opens the heart like a flower unfolding in the morning sun. It doesn't mean we must fix all pain or carry the burdens of the world. Rather, it invites us to be present with suffering, to listen without judgment, and to respond with warmth. This presence is a powerful medicine. When someone feels seen, understood, and loved, their pain softens. And when we offer this love, we heal ourselves as well. Compassion bridges the gap between self and other, transforming suffering into a source of connection. Interconnectedness also teaches us about appreciation and gratitude. When we see how intertwined our lives are, the food we eat, the air we breathe, the hands that help us, we cultivate a deep respect for life. This respect nurtures joy, humility, and a sense of belonging. Think of the vast forest, where every tree, leaf, and creature depends on one another in a delicate balance. If one part suffers, the whole feels the impact. This is a mirror of our own lives. We thrive when we care for each other with love and concern. Compassion naturally leads to actions that benefit others. Small deeds, a smile, a kind word, a helping hand, ripple outward, touching lives in ways we may never see, yet their effects are profound. By cultivating compassion, we also cultivate patience and forgiveness, both for ourselves and others. We learn to accept imperfections and struggles without harshness, recognizing that everyone is on their own path, facing challenges unseen. This acceptance softens the heart and opens it to joy. Joy that is not loud or boastful but quietly steady, nourished by love and understanding. It shines in simple moments, a shared laugh, a gentle touch, a peaceful silence. Compassion also connects us to the sacred mystery of life. It teaches us that beneath all differences of language, culture, beliefs, there is a common thread of being, a vast ocean of life in which we all float. When we live from this place of compassion and connection, happiness is no longer a fleeting state dependent on conditions. It becomes a radiant presence, flowing from the heart to light the world. This deeper joy transforms how we relate to challenges. Suffering no longer isolates us. It becomes a doorway to empathy and care. We see obstacles as opportunities to deepen our kindness and understanding. The Buddhist teachings encourage us to cultivate compassion as a daily practice. Through meditation, reflection, and mindful action, we nurture this sacred quality, allowing it to grow and permeate every part of our life. This practice is both gentle and powerful. It does not require grand gestures, but simple acts of presence and love offered again and again. Over time, these acts become a river flowing toward peace and happiness. Remember, compassion begins with yourself. Often, we are our harshest critics, holding ourselves to impossible standards. Learning to treat ourselves with the same kindness we offer others is a vital step toward true joy. In embracing compassion and interconnectedness, we uncover a wellspring of happiness that nurtures and sustains us through all seasons of life. It is a happiness rooted not in the self alone, but in the vast, shared heart of all beings. So, let your heart open wide like the endless sky. Feel the invisible bonds that hold us all together. The light of compassion shining through every moment, every breath. And in this vast web of life, may you find peace, joy, and belonging beyond words. A happiness that is deep, enduring, and true. Come, let us walk together into the gentle practices of daily life that hold the power to transform our hearts and minds. Buddhism is not only about lofty ideas or distant temples afar. It is about the simple, ordinary moments of living, seen with new eyes and touched with awakened presence. Imagine your day as a delicate thread in a vast tapestry. Each breath, each step, each smile weaving the pattern of your life. The wisdom of Buddhism offers us tools, like gentle hands, to craft this tapestry with care, turning moments of restlessness into moments of peace. One of the most profound teachings is the power of breath. The breath is always with us. It is our constant companion, a bridge between body and mind. By simply paying attention to the breath, in out, we anchor ourselves in the present moment. This practice, called mindful breathing, can be done anytime, anywhere, inviting calm whenever life feels heavy. Try this. When your mind races with worries or your heart feels tense, pause. Feel the air entering your nose, filling your lungs, then softly leaving your body. Let the breath be slow and gentle, Notice how with each exhale, tension eases and space opens inside. This simple act is a powerful balm for the restless mind. Another practice is mindful walking. Often, we rush from place to place without truly being there. But walking can become meditation, a moving prayer. Feel each step as your foot touches the ground, the shifting weight, the rhythm of your body in motion. This mindful walking grounds you in now and reminds you of your connection to the earth. In daily tasks such as washing dishes, eating, or folding clothes, mindfulness transforms the ordinary into sacred moments. Fully engaging your senses, the touch of water, the smell of food, the sound of fabric, awakens joy and presence. The mind quiets when it stops rushing ahead, bathing instead in the richness of the present. Learning to listen deeply is another key practice, not only to others, but to yourself. Often, life's noise drowns out the subtle voice within, calling for rest, compassion, or honesty. Taking time to listen gently to your feelings and thoughts cultivates self-awareness and kindness. Equally important is the practice of generosity. Giving does not mean only offering things. It can be a smile, a kind word, or your presence with someone in need. Generosity opens the heart, loosening the grip of selfishness and inviting joy in the act of giving. Letting go is a daily practice. Life constantly changes, and things fall away like autumn leaves. When we practice releasing attachment to outcomes, expectations, or possessions, we find freedom. This does not mean indifference, but choosing peace over struggle. Reflection on impermanence helps us see that all things, joy, pain, successes, losses, are passing clouds in the sky of awareness. This understanding softens the heart, reducing fear and clinging. Meditation remains at the heart of Buddhist practice. Sitting quietly and observing the mind, without judgment or effort to change, we cultivate clarity and calm. Meditation invites us to meet ourselves fully, with curiosity and love, whether in stillness or motion. Practicing loving-kindness meditation nurtures the heart's ability to wish well to ourselves and others. It is a candlelight that brightens dark places, healing wounds of isolation and fear. Regular practice cultivates compassion and joy, creating ripples that extend far beyond the cushion. In weaving these practices through daily life, we begin to transform habits that keep us trapped in restlessness and craving. Mindfulness provides a pause. Generosity opens the heart. Meditation trains the mind. Reflection deepens wisdom. These practices support each other like a garden. Breath nourishes presence. Presence grows kindness. Kindness blooms into peace. They invite a new way of being that is gentle yet strong, subtle yet profound. Challenges will arise. The mind will resist. Old patterns will call us back. But in returning again and again to these simple acts, we learn patience and resilience. Every moment is a fresh chance to awaken. Through this daily commitment, life slowly shifts. Restlessness gives way to calm, confusion to clarity, isolation to connection. Happiness is no longer a distant dream, but a living reality woven into the fabric of each day. Remember, this path is not about perfection. It is about showing up as you are, with an open heart and a willing mind. The small steps you take now build a foundation for peace that supports you through all seasons. Let your breath be your anchor, your actions be kind, your moments be sacred. In this weaving of mindfulness and compassion, you discover the deepest joy, not chased but found, not earned but given freely. May these simple practices bring light to your days, warmth to your heart, and peace to your soul. And may your life become a living poem of love, presence, and awakening. Let us sit quietly together, and in this stillness, invite a new way of seeing. A shift from the endless chase of happiness to the gentle art of presence. Our lives often feel like a race. Run faster, achieve more, acquire what is next. But what if the prize was not ahead, but here, beneath our very feet? What if happiness was not something to grasp, but something to uncover by simply being? This shift in perspective is subtle, yet profound. It asks us to pause and look closely at the stories we tell ourselves about life. We have been taught to believe that happiness is a destination, a goal to reach. But the truth is, this belief wraps us in a cycle of desire and dissatisfaction. We spend so much energy running toward what we think will make us happy that we miss the moments that already hold joy. Imagine walking through a beautiful garden, eyes fixed on a distant gate, rushing to reach it. Along the way, you overlook the flowers blooming by your side, the birds singing softly, the gentle breeze on your skin. The garden is full of treasures, yet your mind is elsewhere. To transform this, we must turn our gaze inward and around, opening ourselves to the present. Presence is a quiet revolution. It invites us to rest in this moment, fully and without distraction. When present, we experience life as it is, imperfect but whole, changing yet steady. This does not mean ignoring goals or dreams, but balancing them with the grace of now. The practice of presence leads us away from the mind's relentless chase. Instead of grasping for what is next, we learn to receive what is here. This receiving is an act of kindness toward ourselves, a gift that opens the heart and calms the restless thoughts. With presence, we become witnesses to our own experience. We observe emotions rising and falling like waves, thoughts flowing like clouds across the sky. We do not fight or hold tight. We watch with an open, curious heart, learning the nature of our inner world. This witnessing is powerful. It frees us from being swept away by every impulse or story. We see that many of our struggles arise from identification with fleeting thoughts and feelings. By stepping back, we reclaim our freedom and peace. Transforming perspective also means embracing imperfection. Life is not a perfect painting, but an unfolding story with light and shadow, joy and sorrow. When we accept this, we stop resisting reality and find a gentle strength born from acceptance. Presence deepens our connection to ourselves and others. When we are truly here, listening without distraction or judgment, relationships blossom. We notice kindness, empathy, and understanding growing naturally. This shift invites us to pause in moments of stress or confusion and find the breath, the anchor to the now. In this breath, we discover a refuge, a quiet place where happiness quietly blooms. Learning presence is a journey, not a destination. Some days the mind is still, some days restless. Each moment is a chance to start anew, to bring kindness to the wandering mind and patience to the heart. We begin to see that happiness is not a prize at the finish line, but a light that shines along the path. This light is born from acceptance, gratitude, and love, qualities nurtured by living slowly and mindfully. As presence deepens, we find joy in simple, everyday things. The warmth of sunlight, the taste of food, the feel of a friend's hand. These are not small moments, but the very fabric of a happy life. The pursuit of happiness often blinds us to these gifts because of the stories we tell about what should be. By transforming our view, we stop chasing and start living. Our thoughts about the past and future lose their power to define us. We learn to be with what is, even when it is hard, trusting that peace is always available in the present. This does not mean avoiding change or responsibility. It means facing life fully with courage and love, grounded in this moment. Responsibility becomes a mindful choice rather than a burden. Transforming perspective also helps us handle loss and pain with grace. When present, sorrow does not overwhelm, but becomes part of the natural flow of life, allowing healing and growth. The mind's habitual chase for happiness begins to soften, replaced by a steady, calm awareness that nourishes the heart. In this space, contentment grows, not from acquiring, but from being. This transformation is gentle. It does not rush or force, but welcomes each part of our experience with compassion. Over time, this practice brings a deep sense of freedom and joy. Like the changing seasons, happiness moves in cycles. Presence helps us enjoy the spring blossoms and endure the winter cold with equal grace. We learn to dance with these rhythms rather than resist them. The Buddhist teachings guide us to this new way of seeing, to shift from grasping outwardly to opening inwardly. In this opening, love, peace, and true happiness are found, not as distant goals, but as companions on the path. May you find in this transformation the courage to slow down, to breathe fully, and to live deeply in the now. And may this presence gently awaken within your heart, lighting your way with peace and joy. Now, let us come together in the gentle stillness of this moment and open our hearts to a simple truth. The chase for happiness can end here and now. The endless running, the grasping for something just beyond reach. It is possible to turn away from that restless path and step into a life of peace and joy that lives beneath the surface of all seeking. Imagine a weary traveler finally laying down the heavy burden after a long journey. The weight that once bent the shoulders begins to lift. Breath comes easier. The heart opens, and a quiet smile arises. This traveler is you, right here, right now, ready to rest in the home of your own being. Living beyond the chase does not mean stopping the dance of life. It is not giving up on dreams or the beauty of new experiences. It is learning to walk with the heart lightened by understanding, the mind softened by wisdom. The Buddha's teachings whisper an invitation to look deeply into the nature of happiness and suffering, to see how the stories of wanting and fear shape our experience, to realize that beyond these stories lies a space of freedom, a peaceful center where the heart can settle. This is a space where happiness is not fleeting or fragile, but steady and true. It is not tied to conditions or achievements, but blooms naturally when we stop pushing and start being. To live in this way, we begin with presence, coming home to the present moment as it is, without judgment or expectation. In this presence, the restless mind discovers its calm. The anxious heart finds its beat. We welcome our whole experience, the joys, the sorrows, the successes, the challenges, with open arms. We allow life's currents to flow, learning to navigate them with grace rather than resistance. Non-attachment becomes our companion, gently loosening the tight grip of craving. We learn to love and live fully without clinging, open to the dance of change that is life itself. Balance, the middle way, guides our steps, neither too harsh nor too indulgent, but steady and kind. We find harmony in movement and rest, effort and ease. Compassion and connection weave through our days, reminding us we are not alone. Our happiness arises from the shared heart of all beings, bound together in this vast, beautiful web of life. Practical wisdom flows through each breath, each smile, each mindful moment. The simple practices of kindness, generosity, and meditation nourish the roots of peace deep within. As we embrace this living wisdom, the inner chase softens. We stop looking outside for what only the heart can give itself: love, acceptance, and peace. This shift brings liberation. It frees us from the endless pursuit that wears the spirit down and opens the way to a radiant, quiet joy that shines through all seasons. There will be times of difficulty and doubt. The path is not always easy, but with patience, perseverance, and gentle self-compassion, every step becomes a step toward freedom. Remember, too, that this journey is not solitary. The teachings, the community of seekers, and the quiet presence within all support us. We walk together, learning and growing. In this shared journey, the walls between self and others dissolve. We see that kindness given is kindness received. Love offered is love returned. So breathe deeply now. Feel the ground beneath you, steady and strong. Feel the breath moving in and out. A bridge to the peace here and now. And with each breath, let go a little more of the chase. Let the heart open like a flower to the sun. Let the mind settle like a lake at dawn. In this gentle unfolding, find the happiness that is not chased but found, the peace that is not earned but given freely. Know that you are enough, just as you are, that your presence here is a gift to the world, and that the deepest joy is living fully in this moment with an open heart. Thank you for sharing this journey with me here on Wisdom Woven. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps these teachings reach more hearts, weaving wisdom into the world. May your days be filled with gentle peace, steady joy, and heartfelt connection. May the light of awakening guide you home, each step, each breath, each moment. And so, the chase ends, and the true journey begins.